Hello once again. Welcome to the PokerStars Arena, which once again hosts the Sunday Million. It's the big weekly MTT on PokerStars, a $109 buy-in with a $1 million guaranteed prize pool. And it is now a PKO, a progressive knockout. That means bounties are in play. That means you get head prizes every time you knock out a player. And plenty of players have gone. We started with 10,507, 83 coming to day two, playing down to a winner tonight. Watching the action, it is myself, James Hartigan, joined by Nick Walsh.
Hello, hello.
And Mr. Benjamin Spraggy Sprag.
Hi, hello.
We are delighted to have you with us, Spraggy. I know that you've just come back from a few days of poker in Nottingham at UK EPT at dusk till dawn. So I know you're probably on the kind of like tired side, but we'll take whatever we can get right now. And what we have right now is poker being played at our first feature table. So let's get straight to the action. And this table features the start of day chip leader, Biggie 3510, who's getting a little bit frisky with 5-4 offsuit here against Kings.
Would not recommend it, and duly punished immediately with the all-in, as you might expect. That's certainly an out-of-line start to today's broadcast.
And as Spraggy learns very quickly, Nick, it's a hell of a lot easier this game when you can see all of the hold cards.
Yes, especially when you can see the hold cards, absolutely.
So 82 players remaining. That means one elimination so far. What do we know about our start of day chip leader? Biggie, playing from Switzerland, a low to mid stakes player who has just $30,000 in total PokerStars earnings. Now, of course, $30,000 is a lot of money, but if we're talking about winnings online, there are many players who have numbers in the millions or tens of millions. So 30K is relatively small compared to many accomplished online pros. Did win a Bounty Builder Series event earlier this year, a $55 PLO 6 max event for $7,800. Not involved in this hand though, which seems to have gone Havana's way so far.
Yeah, Jack on the turn and leading out here for some value from the big blind. Ace-6 going to stick around. Pretty nasty river for both players. I don't think anyone's going to be too happy with the flush filling. Maybe Havana will go for a block sizing, try and buy themselves a cheap showdown. Opts for a check.
What's it going to be? Jeff Dosso checks it back with thin showdown value, pair of sixes, and Havana takes the pot. So Biggie still has the chip lead with 15.6 million. There is a Brazilian player with 15.5 million. In fact, there are 4 players right now who've got more than 15 million. So it is very close at the top. And if there's one thing we've learned in covering the Sunday Million as a PK over the last few weeks, whoever the chip leader is now, don't expect them to be at the final table. A lot of variance in this PKO format, a lot of chip swings, and no guarantee that the big stacks now will be the big stacks when we're down to the final 9.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's to be expected and kind of how the format should be played, right? You just have to play some big pots. With the bounties in play, you're just forced to play more pots, forced to call off with bounty prizes on the line. So very swingy game. It's kind of cool that Biggie is maybe, doesn't have a huge amount of cashes online, but with that big stack was still willing to put in that 4-5 offsuit 3-bet and swing that stack around a little bit.
Yeah, you have to ask yourself the question, is that how we developed this big stack with some of those more wild plays with the 5-4 offs, etc.? Obviously, we're running into Kings. It's never going to turn out particularly well, but I mean, many of these Brazilians, mate.
Maybe a little bit of boom or bust economics going on here from Biggie. We'll see.
Yeah. So Chris has a question. What are the stats on the day 2 chip leader or the chip leader at the start of day 2 making the final table or winning? Now, we don't really have much of a sample size since it's changed to the PKO format. But if we talk about when the Sunday Million was a standard no-limit hold'em affair and we'd come back with anything between 75 and 100 players, I want to say, Nick, that the start of day chip leader, maybe one time in 5, you'd see that player make it to the final 9. And now I think we're running at 0.
Yeah, I mean, I think that definitely is sort of resonating with me. as Spraggy already pointed out today, you know, the way that that PKOs are played just inherently mean that there's so much more gamble in them, especially at the earlier stages of the tournament. So going in as the chip leader as day 2, you still earn a position where the bounties are going to come into play very significantly, which can put you in some very precarious situations where otherwise you might have tried to avoid those spots just to ladder a little bit further up to the final table and eventually a win. So, yeah, I don't know. I think that would be a great little thing to write down and maybe try and keep a running total of. I mean, having those kinds of statistics would be a great little thing for us to develop over the course of, you know, the next couple of years while we're doing more of these Cards Up Sunday Million streams.
So Biggie had the advantage with a pair of queens, but Barry Greenstein makes his first appearance of the evening. The ace on the river gives Serve La Min the advantage.
Yeah, and obviously a situation where they're going to try and target a king or a queen for a call because most of the aces are going to chop with the 2 7s on board.
Yeah. It does get paid by the queen.
Does get called by the queen, which is kind of a little bit, maybe a little bit loose, a little bit optimistic. I'd imagine there's still some aces that Biggie can call with, so a little bit suspicious. Serve La Min is a good regular, and I'm going to go ahead and say it. I feel like every time I've played against Serve La Min in the last like month or two, or maybe pre-Vegas, they had it out for me. They're very aggressive, 3-betting me, 4-betting me, picking on me, borderline bullying me. So definitely one to watch in this field.
I mean, again here, Spraggy, I don't know if you spotted this, but the Jack-10 off sort of flat from sort of middling position here versus an earlier open. I mean, I think this is probably on the wide side as well, don't you?
Yeah, this is definitely outside of what you might expect or what is quote-unquote reasonable.
Yep.
Pretty decent flop.
Oof. Wow, and then just the shit from Petty there as well. That was pretty spicy in itself.
We got a poker game on our hands tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We got a poker game on our hands tonight.
Can we just give a quick shout out to Rory Jennings in the chat? He just leads with "This is class." That's such a Rory thing to say. In case there was any chance it wasn't the real Rory Jennings, him entering the chat like that just confirms it for us. How you doing, buddy?
And he's not wrong. This is class. What a class start. Just a 4x pot all in on the King 9-3 with Ace Jack. Oh, I'd love to see it.
I'm not sure what to do here. I think I'm just all in. Yeah, fair play.
Anytime there is a former EastEnders star watching the stream, it makes me very, very happy. We've also got Merstyle, who says, OMG, Spraggy is in the same stream as James Hartigan. This must be huge for his career. Maybe 5 years ago. Now, when Spraggy goes to a live event, he hangs out with the cool kids. He's hanging out with Sam Grafton and Tonka and playing 5Ks and 10Ks and going for dinner with them. Doesn't hang out with, like, you know, the stream people anymore.
That's not true. That's not true. I just, you know, there's so much to be There's so much to be done. So much fun to be had at EPT live stops. You know, you're always in action or having fun with friends. That's what makes the EPT such a great tour to attend, James, as you know. In
all seriousness, and we will talk about this because we'll have various opportunities when this tournament goes on break. You obviously have been playing a lot more live in recent years. Monte Carlo was your first EPT main event and your first EPT cash. Obviously, you also scraped into the money at the PSPC. We got the UK IPT back. You were in Vegas for the summer, so plenty to catch up on. But I love it when you're now playing these events. I love having you on feature tables. I love it when you make TV shows, which you've now done twice.
Yeah, it's great fun. I'm really enjoying playing live poker, actually. I'm probably traveling a little bit more than I'd like to at the moment because the stream has been, you know, suffering, I guess, or like being offline a little bit more than I'd like, but you can't do it all. It's been really enjoyable, and like I say, we'll get into my recent escapades at the UK IPT when we go on break. But a nice reshove there from Jeff with the King Jack suited. Punishes the King 9-0 in early position.
And I kind of feel that we're behind the usual pace of play. Only 4 eliminations in the first 9 minutes of action. I would expect us to have lost at least 10 people by now.
You say that, James, but based on some of the hands we played thus far, I think we're headed for some bust outs very, very rapidly as well.
Yeah, in fairness, a few players here are trying to get eliminated. We're definitely seeing some stacks flying.
Ace Jack off seems reasonable.
Yeah, I like this hand just for a shove. Just 12 big blinds, pretty short. Time to dance.
Yeah, I feel like Biggie's going to give him some action here. He seems like a player who's willing to put some money in pre-flop to see some flops. He's facing, like, I mean, I think in this situation, once he's gone for 2.5, it's still going to be a pretty clear fold. But had he have played it alternatively, had he played it just as a min raise or something like that, I feel like Biggie's the kind of player that would have danced with him.
Yeah, when you're facing a min raise in these PKOs, especially like in the big blind when you're already invested, you want to get in really wide.
Okay.
Just because the bounty's going to play. Oh, he's called it off here for the 12 bigs.
The old stop and go.
And this is going to be a double up for Naby Curry. Biggie, not off to the best start on day 2, has dropped down the rankings, started today as chip leader and is now ranked 17th overall. Royal Math 67 from Brazil is the current #1 stack, 16.6 million with 76 players remaining. That's more like it. 3 eliminations since I last checked in.
And I think that's the danger of playing a little bit too wide for the bounties. It's very easy to get overly sort of enamored with the cash payout. But at this stage of the tournament, they're certainly less important than the payouts at hand. And Biggie could be in even more trouble here, flopping queen high against the dominating queen X of Lamin.
Yeah, I think the defend here pre-flop is probably, again, a little bit wider than what you want to be doing.
Biggie really needs to think carefully about whether Queen 9 is a hand they want to be playing as frequently as they do. Although, when it's suited in diamonds, it does have additional equity.
Yeah, we've got that backdoor flush draw now. I think, again, Biggie will just be obviously looking to take a river card. Still going to be good sometimes against some bluffs from the button.
Yeah.
Obviously, we can see dominated. I think Savlamin just goes big here. Tries to drive as much money or as many chips in the middle as possible.
Yeah, I love this line. I mean, in the spot as well with Queen 9, you know that your 9 is probably going to be a clean out a lot of the time here. It's pretty rare that the 9 is going to improve your opponent's hand in a way that you're not going to want to get there as well. Oh my days, not like this. Not like this.
This escalated quickly.
I mean, I feel like Biggie can still have, like, theoretically should still have hands like King Queen here, but I mean, honestly, check shoving turn isn't really a line we see that often, really.
Yeah, so Vlamin is going to gobble this one up.
Oh!
Surely not. Not
domination like rotation, not the diamond, but the 9. And Biggie doubles up through Servler Min. And Biggie is back in the #1 position. Biggie's chip leader once again.
Brutal.
When you're all in, it's a very important part of the game. I think a little bit optimistic to shove the turn. Just maybe one of those situations where a player has so many outs and a top pair that they just kind of want to end the hand and chuck the chips in the middle. Which, by and large, is going to be okay, but runs into it, but gets lucky with the river.
I mean, Biggie likes to play hands, and that always makes for an entertaining feature table as we go 4-way to this pot.
Yeah, 9-10 off was the opener here, but I think it's a pretty clear, I was going to say, I think it's a pretty clear non-bet here once you see this much action behind you. I think it's pretty optimistic with a hand like 9-10 of hearts to get this this bet through. I don't know what you think, Spraggy.
Yeah, very optimistic. Like, no, especially without the backdoor flush draw.
Yeah.
There isn't really a card you can pick up where you're that happy to barrel either, because even if you make like a queen, or an 8, you're still like drawing pretty thin.
Right. I think Ace Jack 5 is fine to c bet, but you just want something going on. You want like a very, very clear path to the river. So you got to have some backdoor equity. You got to have some scare cards that might improve. On a board like Ace Jack 5, there aren't that many scare cards, which again is probably one of the reasons why it's so optimistic to just have like 10 high, no redraw.
I love this once they're here though. I love this once you get here. I think you just got to keep going.
Yeah, I totally agree. If you're gonna take this line, especially against the small blind flat, I think definitely another barrel is really cool here, and the size is quite nice too.
That's the spot for Yannick, but I think Yannick still has some aces and whatnot that they'll continue with, and this is kind of bottom for them. Nice fold, nice bluff, eventually.
Yeah, the sizing was really nice.
Round to Biggie with King 5 offsuit. And just open jamming on 3 relatively short stacks.
I kind of like it. It's a little bit wide, but I think it's probably better than... I think fold is probably best, but this is okay in a PKO.
It's probably looks a lot worse than it is. Like if you plug that into an ICM sort of bounty calculator situation, it probably wouldn't be that bad, but it's probably still a little bit on the wide side for sure.
Average stack right now, by the way, is 7.5 million. Blinds currently 125, 250 and going up in 4 minutes.
Love to see this kind of poker. You're right, James. Love when we have players like this. It makes it so much fun. I mean, Biggie's never got the 4s in here.
Biggie's folding. No shot. Biggie's folding. Get it in.
This is going straight in the middle.
Servler Min lost most of their chips to Biggie in that ace-queen, queen-9 confrontation. Now it is a classic race that Servler Min needs to win. Fours are holding. No, they're not. There's the 8 on the flop. 4 on the river.
No. Oh, it's destiny.
I thought Servler Min had won that race, but no. A full house on the river means that Biggie takes the bounty and is now up to 22.5 million.
It was 50-50. It was a flip. It's very reasonable run out.
Meanwhile, we have lost a slew of other players, down to 69 right now. And top pair for Havana.
Yeah, the king 6 just takes a stab here at the sort of monotone board, which I think is pretty reasonable at this stage. I mean, it's very hard to continue here without a diamond in your hand or, you know, a decent top pair. I think probably you should be continuing with pretty much all your pairs in position here, but I know many players will overfold in this situation, which is why I think as an exploit, a lot of players like to go ahead and be aggressive in these spots.
Oof, look at this. Pot size bet on the turn. Nabi kind of telling the story that they have, you know, flushes and straights and really strong hands to be betting like this.
It's clearly not just Biggie who came to play today. Everyone wants to get involved.
Woo, let's go. Yeah, I mean, so far we've seen Nabi take some more unusual sort of flop lines, but on the turns they seem to have a pretty clear idea of what they're doing with their secondary sizes. So I think that's really another player to keep an eye on there for sure. That's really cool.
And now opening the button with 9-4. Havana 10-3 in the small. Pet 8, Queen 8 in the big.
And again, I'm kind of okay with this. What we want to be doing is playing wide in position and wide when we cover. And obviously, you know, covering here for the bounties, you're extra incentivized to play pots. Suited nature of the hand is probably okay to open. I'd love to see a bet on ace 5.
Yeah. For sure.
You'd expect that player in the big blind is going to be going all in with a lot of their ace-x hands. So it's a good board for the button. Just bet and win. Very nice.
Yeah, absolutely. And Jeff's got a bit of a decision here. I think given the fact that he's covered by pretty much everybody at this table, at least all the players behind him, it's probably going to be a fold. Don't think you want to be messing around with ace-6 off that far from position. And it's not like one of those spots where you're going to rip ace-6 and you're going to get a loose call from the big blind just trying to win your bounty or something like that either. You got a lot of players to get around with lots of legitimate hands, potentially.
I am working on the assumption, by the way, that Jeff Dosso's avatar is a picture of themselves. That looks like a Jeff.
Yeah, I can go with that. I can go with that. Here's a real test for Biggie. If we see the 7 deuce off the fend, then okay. Even Biggie's got the fold there. I like it.
I was half expecting him just to rip it in, just to prove us, you know, just to get us really excited about his play. There it is, ace 5 suited UTG.
Or are we dancer? Ace 5 suited, short stacked, all in, and is anyone going to call this?
It's a 62 bucker bounty, so there's no real added incentive, although I feel like Biggie might just look at this and see, what are we dealing with? 7 blinds, king 7 suited?
I mean, the other thing to note, though, is the player behind him pretty much has the same amount of chips, so it's not like he's risking any more of his stack.
Yeah.
Than, you know, so it is kind of, I actually wouldn't mind a call in this situation. It's still a lot of big blinds, but I think he will go for it.
Yannick has the 500 bucker bounty nearly as well, so there's a little bit of maybe added playing for that sometimes.
Looking good for a double up.
No good.
Has a lock on it on the turn. And Human gets the double up through Biggie, who just saw chips, $62, thought, king 7, yes please. Didn't work out.
Probably more action coming in here from the ace queen. Yannick short with the ace 9 might be in trouble here. And I think most likely wants to run it against the open, if indeed we see an open. What was the enigma of Biggie on the button? The 10-4 suited, let's see.
Biggie on the button.
All right, I think Yannick probably just takes his spot.
I would take the spot if I was Yannick for sure, and, you know, quite easily get called by worse a lot of the time, especially given the 472 bounty. Yep, quick call. Or quick all-in, effective all-in call.
Yeah, and Yannick calls it off. A domination situation and not looking good for the ace-9. It's over on the turn. Another KO. Yannick, poker 1, eliminated by Pede 25. And a bounty of nearly $500 claimed by Pede, who's playing just below average, 7.3 million. Average stack right now, 7.9 million, with 66 players remaining. And hello to Chris 4 and Kuznets Smasher, who've just joined the table.
Love that. Biggie getting involved with the King 6-0.
Yep. I think it's just really, really cool to see how he's putting the squeeze on the players to his left. As Spraggy already pointed out, the way that the ranges are affected by coverage is so significant, and especially given the fact that now there's not just them trying to play their hands well from particular positions, but also them trying to find additional ladders as we get closer to a final table.
Should highlight that whilst
This might be a reasonable hand for Biggie to fire down. Sorry, James. Yeah, but you see, Nabi there makes a pair, trying to hang on. Little blocker at the river.
Yeah, Biggie with just king high. It's still the biggest stack at this table, but has been overtaken on the leaderboard by a couple of players. Nevermore DM from Belarus and Heidegger 807 from Canada. Heidegger was a boozy beggar, and he's #1 in chips right now with 25 million.
Biggie's gone. Moved.
All right, where are we going, James? Where's Biggie at right now? Let's get to that table real quick.
Biggie has been balanced off, but we do have
get kings first.
Humelin with kings opening to 600k.
Yeah, and I definitely like the min raise here rather than just the shove. I think you definitely still want a portion of your really strong hands that open off the short depths. Obviously, that's going to allow you to make some steals as well. And you want to induce as much action with like kings and aces, queens as you can. Unfortunately for Humlin, no action this time.
And it's Jeff, who's relatively short, got about 11 big blinds and a pair of 9s. And Jeff decides
I think this is
to
the
go
spot
all
where
in.
you prefer the jam.
Yeah, this might fall into the opposite category where
Yep.
you're more likely just to shove. You don't want the big blind to defend.